Going through my top 10 NFL mock draft for post-free agency. So I'm going to go 1 all the way down to 10 here, starting off with, of course, the Cleveland Browns. But first, follow me on Twitter at Mr. Rogers99. Of course, we appreciate the support here on Chat Sports. Let's do it. Mock draft time. Check it in at number 1 overall, the Cleveland Browns. And they will be selecting, and I kind of hinted at it, Sam Darnold, quarterback out of USC. Now, let me just say it firsthand about Sam Darnold. He is going to be a bit of a project, all right? I don't think he's going to be the Week 1 2018 starter. I'd expect Tyrod Taylor to be that guy, and Hugh Jackson has said as much, although we should not buy into that too much because he literally said that in March. Why should we buy into that? Now, Darnold is going to be a much better fit than Rosen would be for the Cleveland Browns. And don't ask me. Ask Jim Mora here, the former head coach of Josh Rosen, who was on NFL Network recently and said the following, quote, Sam Darnold has that blue-collar, gritty attitude and represents what Cleveland is. So what does that make Rosen, Jim? A white-collar guy with a lot of attitude? Like, it was kind of a weird statement to hear. I know Jim Mora was kind of playing his analyst role there because he was on NFL Network and he was kind of providing a third-party sort of perspective, not trying to buy too much into Josh Rosen as the #1 quarterback there. But still, like, if you look at the statements, it tells me that Josh Rosen isn't the gritty blue-collar guy. And honestly, I think he's right. But it's funny to hear it from Jim Mora. So I think Darnold is going to be going #1 overall. I've been saying this ever since I started mocking. I don't think I'm going to change it at all. Darnold's got the desired size, the great pocket presence, uses his eyes really well downfield. Plenty of time for Darnold to grow and learn with new offensive coordinator Todd Haley as well. Plus, you got some fantastic pieces on that team. Jarvis Landry, Carlos Hyde, Darren Fells, the list goes on. So considering that Tyrod Taylor is going to be the starter, LOL, by the way, there's less pressure, I think, on Darnold, even though he's going #1 overall. But maybe I'm wrong, and let me know if I'm wrong in the reaction poll here. Who is going to go #1 to the Cleveland Browns? Give me a heart for Sam Darnold, a like for Josh Rosen, laughing face for Josh Allen, and a wow face for Saquon Barkley. And let me tell you here, this is the beginning of the quarterback run. So let's continue on here and check in with #2 overall and the New York Giants. This by far is my most tough decision. I have Josh Rosen going to the Giants. So I wonder if this is a good fit according to Jim Mora, by the way. We should hit up Jim Mora and ask him. So I think Rosen is someone who won't be starting in 2018 barring injury either, so not a lot of pressure on him. The Giants have to look ahead to the future, though. And Eli Manning ain't getting any younger. I will say Saquon Barkley at #2 was so tempting for me, but I couldn't pull the trigger. I think the Giants need a backup plan at quarterback, and it needs to be addressed in this draft. When is there going to be the next time the Giants get a #2 overall pick like this? The Giants are a respectable organization. They're not going to be picking in the top 5 year in and year out. I think they're going to take steps in the right direction, especially with a new head coach, Pat Shurmur, and Dave Gettleman, I think, is a really good GM. The Giants are doing the right things here. So they have to understand picking at #2 overall is a unique opportunity for them, and I know Gettleman has said the Giants want to draft a once-in-a-generation kind of talent, a generational kind of player. I'm not so sure Josh Rosen fits that bill, but I think it'd be kind of crazy if the Giants miss out on this guy. Davis Webb, Giants fans, do you have a lot of confidence in him to get it done after the Eli Manning era is over? I don't know. So I could also see Quenton Nelson in maybe a desperation move, considering the Giants lost both Weston Richburg and Justin Pugh to free agency. So with that, Rosen, great arm talent. My main knock on him is the leadership. How does he fit in with that GM, Dave Gettleman, and what he visualizes for Eli Manning's successor? That's the big-time question mark for me. Are concerns with Rosen's attitude fair or not? And will they cause him to drop below Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield? Those are the big-time question marks that you all should kind of ponder here. My answer for now is no. I don't think the attitude issues or the leadership problems are going to make him drop, but we'll see. Rosen going number 2 to the Giants. Let's go to number 3 overall. From one New York team to another, we've got the New York Jets. They will select Josh Allen, quarterback out of Wyoming. So there is a reason why there's an asterisk there next to the Jets, because, of course, they traded up to get to this point with the Indianapolis Colts. There's also a reason why the Jets did this, because they want a quarterback, and they know there's going to be a quarterback slide here, and slide in the sense of kind of like a run of quarterbacks being drafted, not necessarily like quarterbacks are sliding down the board. And so the Giants, or the Jets that is, have to figure out an opportunity here to get their guy. And I think Josh Allen really fits here. So similar situation with the Giants and the Browns. I don't think there's any pressure on Josh Allen to be the starting quarterback in week 1, because the Jets have Josh McCown and Teddy Bridgewater, likely to be bridge quarterbacks of some kind. Definitely Josh McCown. Teddy Bridgewater, I don't know what's going to happen with him. We'll see. You got offensive coordinator Jeremy Bates, a guy I like a lot. He's done a fantastic job with quarterback prospects in the past. I think he'll groom Josh Allen really well. Jeremy Bates turned Jay Cutler into a Pro Bowl quarterback in 2008. So if Jeremy Bates can do that, I think he can do anything. What I'm saying is Jeremy Bates is a miracle worker. So Josh Allen, I think, will go to the Jets. Big armed quarterback. The more tape I watch on this kid, the more impressed I am. So I think he's going to go number 3 overall. He will go to the New York Jets. Let's go to number 4 here. We've got the Cleveland Browns, courtesy of the Houston Texans. And the Cleveland Browns will select Saquon Barkley, running back out of PSU here. And thanks to this quarterback run, I think Saquon drops to number 4. And the Browns get their franchise running back. The draft could not have gone any better for the Cleveland Browns. You get Sam Darnold at 1, who doesn't need to be the starter in week 1. You get a week 1 starter running back at number 4 with Saquon Barkley. So Isaiah Crowell, he's off to the Jets. I think the opportunity is there for Saquon to make an immediate impact. I still think there's a role for Duke Johnson, by the way, but I think Todd Haley is going to have a lot of fun with the new pieces on offense here. We're talking about Jarvis Landry, perhaps a Saquon Barkley. And then you have, I say new because it kind of is new, Josh Gordon, because we haven't seen much of him. And then you got Corey Coleman as well. So a lot of fun pieces on that offense for the Cleveland Browns. I'm saying this. I think Cleveland has a very real chance to be a part of the postseason conversation. I think they have a very real chance to finish ahead of the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC North and finish 3rd. The way in which the Browns have done with John Dorsey at the GM position there, and really turning the franchise on its head and making some big-time changes. So Barkley is getting LT kind of comparisons. I'm not sure if I'm ready to buy into that, but I will say the offensive line is there for him to perform. You got Joel Bitonio, J.C. Treader, Kevin Zeitler at guard. Some pretty good offensive linemen there. So Saquon goes number 4 overall. By the way, swinging for Saquon, that is a phrase that I have coined. Spread it around, make it happen. Kind of like Gretchen Wiener made fetch happen in Mean Girls. Swinging for Saquon, make that happen. Make this happen as well. Baker Mayfield going to the Denver Broncos at number 5 overall. Let me say this. I think he is the best quarterback in the draft. I think he is the most polished. I think he has the best opportunity to start week 1 in 2018 if he somehow beats out Case Keenum, which I think is certainly in the realm of possibility. So you want to talk about gritty and blue collar. I think Baker Mayfield fits that bill. He's a gritty guy, has a great competitiveness to him. Here's a recent John Elway statement on Mayfield. Quote, "But watching his pro day, it was much of what we saw during the season. He's a very accurate passer. For a smaller guy, he can throw the football a long way. He can make every throw that you ask quarterbacks to make in this league. So it was very exciting to watch him perform." Call me crazy, but I think John Elway is going to fall in love with Baker Mayfield. And I think he already has. And that's why I have Baker Mayfield going to the Denver Broncos here. Again, I could see Quenton Nelson going number 5. The Broncos have a need at the guard position. They got to improve their run blocking ability. But the tall, big-armed quarterback thing just has not worked for Denver. And I'm talking about Brock Osweiler and Paxton Lynch. So it's time for John Elway to understand maybe we should head in a different direction here. And I'm sure he'll be tempted to draft Josh Allen if he is on the board, by the way. But Baker Mayfield, I have going to the Denver Broncos there, number 5. Let's go to a number 6 now, and it's the Indianapolis Colts. So thanks to this quarterback run, if you will, the Colts can trade back, get a ton of draft capital, and oh yeah, get this guy, Bradley Chubb, defensive end out of NC State, perhaps the best defensive player in the draft. So Chubb, I think, has exceptional explosiveness, will be quite the disruptor on that defensive line, and the Colts have really struggled to get to opposing quarterbacks. I think Chubb will help a lot in that department. Despite adding Danico Autry, I think the Colts really need to address that front 7. So far this offseason, they really haven't done all that much. Could see maybe Quenton Nelson again here with the Colts because they have some needs at guard. They did re-sign Jack Mewhort, which I think is important. But letting Chubb to drop to the Buccaneers, I think, would be a little insane. I think the Colts have to get him if Chubb is there at number 6 overall, because you know the Bucs are going to gobble him up at number 7 if Bradley does indeed drop that far. But I'm telling you, 6 overall. I mean, you can ask any draft expert out there. I think they would say that'd be a steal for Bradley Chubb. All right, let's get to number 7, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So with Chubb off the board, that means they get this guy, Quenton Nelson, guard out of Notre Dame. I love this fit. It makes a lot of sense. Nelson has minimal weaknesses, getting glowing reviews from everybody out there. His run blocking is fantastic. He eats up defenders in pass protection as well. The Bucs did re-sign Evan Smith, and he ranked 29th among guards according to Pro Football Focus, so not great, but not awful. They also have Ryan Jensen at the center position, so somewhat addressing that interior of the offensive line there. And I think Ryan Jensen is a good center as well. But I think Nelson could supplant J.R. Sweezy easily. Easily. Sweezy stinks. He had an awful year in 2017. I think Nelson's going to come in and really make an immediate impact for Tampa Bay. Oh, by the way, a team that needs to protect its franchise quarterback in Jameis Winston, coming off a season where he dealt with an AC joint injury there. So Quenton Nelson going number 7 to the Bucs. Let's go to number 8 now. We've got the Chicago Bears selecting. So the good news for them in this post-free agency era is that they don't have to reach for Calvin Ridley or any wide receiver. So they can address the front 7, which I think is a need for them. Tremaine Edmunds, linebacker out of Virginia Tech. The good news here is that with the whole quarterback run that's going on, you can find some really good defenders in the bottom of this top 10 here. So, like I said, need on that front 7. You look at the general manager, Ryan Pace, and his history. He craves athletic traits, and he wants athletic specimens out there on the football field. Trubisky, Leonard Floyd, Kevin White were all touted as these great athletes. Edmunds, 6'5", 250. The Bears can play him inside and as maybe an outside linebacker in a 3-4. You could try him out in a Leo kind of situation. I think you could really experiment with Tremaine Edmunds. And I think that's what really brings the fun out of this pick here, because you could put him in so many different spots, and I think he could be an effective linebacker in some different areas. And by the way, this guy still can't legally drink. He's 19 years old, so plenty of room to grow here, and he's only just getting started. He's a little raw. It's going to take some polishing, of course. I mean, that comes with the territory of being in your teens still at 19. So there you go. Tremaine Edmunds going to the Chicago Bears. Let's go to number 9, San Francisco 49ers. They will select Minkah Fitzpatrick. I think the Niners get their playmaker here. Fitzpatrick fits the bill. Play him at slot corner, outside corner, even at safety. He's a hybrid player built for the modern NFL in my eyes. And you talk about how you could experiment with Tremaine Edmunds a little bit. You could experiment with Minkah Fitzpatrick in that secondary. Now, the 49ers have a pretty darn good secondary as we stand with Ahkello Witherspoon and Richard Sherman and Adrian Colbert at safety, K'Wan Williams at slot corner as well. But do you pass on Minkah at number 9 if you are indeed drafting at number 9? And I say that because I do think there's a real scenario here where the 49ers actually trade back. Because if Quenton Nelson is not there at number 9, which is what I am projecting here, Minkah Fitzpatrick's a great player and a fantastic talent, but the secondary isn't the biggest need anymore, especially with the addition of Richard Sherman. So in that vein, I could see a scenario where San Francisco trades back from number 9 there. All right, but for now, I'm not projecting trades or anything like that, so I do have Minkah going to San Francisco. So just real quick, if the 49ers do trade back, keep an eye on Connor Williams or Isaiah Wynn to fill in that need at guard. All right, let's go to number 10 now, the Oakland Raiders. Who will they select at number 10 overall? I've been sticking with this guy, I want to say, for all of my mock drafts to this point. Roquan Smith, linebacker out of Georgia. I will keep him here until I hear news about Navarro Bowman because I have no idea what's going on with him and the Raiders. So they could use some help at inside linebacker. I know they have Tahir Whitehead come on over from Detroit, ranked 25th among linebackers according to Pro Football Focus a year ago. But I still think Roquan is a special talent in the sense of pass coverage. He can do a fantastic job running the routes with opposing running backs. And I think he's an athletic guy that really has a fantastic football IQ. And perhaps somewhat of a leader in that linebacking core there for the Oakland Raiders. Maybe not immediately, but at some point. So Oakland, they get Roquan Smith. We'll see if that changes going down the line there in my mock draft. Of course, I will have a full-on mock draft in April, so don't you guys worry, right here on the Cam Rogers Show. But if you missed my picks, here's a summary. So, Sam Darnold to Cleveland. Then we got Josh Rosen to the Giants. Josh Allen to the Jets. Saquon Barkley to the Browns. Baker Mayfield going on over to the Denver Broncos. So then 6 through 10, Bradley Chubb. Then we got Quenton Nelson. Tremaine Edmunds heading to the Chicago Bears. Minkah Fitzpatrick to the San Francisco 49ers. And Roquan Smith becoming a member of the Oakland Raiders.